Hi, this is Alimayo Arango of littleguy.cgi.com, and today I want to show you how to model a dragon inside of Blender 2.71. So let's get started. If this is your first time in Blender, I recommend you go to File, User Preferences, go to Input, and then choose Select with left click rather than right click. Blender's default select is with right click, and this may confuse you if you're coming from Adobe programs or other 3D programs. Also, if you happen to be on a laptop, if you put a check mark here for emulate number pad, it will make your laptop keys at the top of your laptop keyboard respond like the keys that are all the way to the right on a full keyboard. Also, for this tutorial, if you go into add-ons and scroll down to looking for loop tools, you want to put a check mark next to Mesh F2, Mesh Inset, Loop Tools, and Relax. And this will just make it so you can totally follow along in this tutorial. Okay, Blender works in two different modes, or multiple modes, but the main modes it works in for modeling are object mode and edit mode. Right now we are in object mode. So what I want you to do is you're going to hit 3 on your number keypad to go into side view. And then I'm going to hit tab, which you can see we're in object mode here. Hitting tab will take you into edit mode. Whenever you hit tab or keyboard shortcuts in Blender, it matters where your mouse is at. So basically, if my mouse is right here and I hit tab, it doesn't go into object mode, But if I have my mouse over this viewpoint and I hit tab, it goes into object mode. So it's very important where your mouse is at. Okay, with my mouse here, I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode. I'm going to hit Z to go transparent. The reason why I'm going transparent is so that I can grab more than one vertex at a time. In Blender, there's perspectives, like there's right perspective and there's orthographic. Orthographic is like kind of like makes your view like it's totally 2D. To go into orthographic mode, you're going to hit 5 on your number keypad. And you can see which view you're in just by looking right up here, so you can see we're in right ortho. I'm going to roll my middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm now going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit B to box select. I'm going to draw a box around these 4 vertices. It looks like there's 2 vertices, but there's actually 4. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the y-axis to pull back just like this. I'm going to hit R. Whoops. I'm going to hit R to rotate. And I'm just going to move my mouse to rotate down. If you guys did my T-Rex tutorial, this is kind of going to start out the same way. I'm going to hit E to extrude again. I'm going to pull out here, not so far. I'm going to hit R to rotate to about like this. I'm going to push in. I'm just lining up this vertex in this one right here. I'm now going to hit A to deselect, B to box select. Remember, I'm grabbing 2 vertices, not 1. That's why I'm not just clicking on them, doing box selects. I'm grabbing the 2 vertices. Because we're in right orthographic mode, it looks like you're only grabbing 1, but you're actually grabbing 2. So you're just going to take your manipulator and make kind of like a trapezoid thing right there. I'm going to hit A to deselect, B to box select. I'm going to hit E to extrude. And I'm just looking at this line right here. That's where I'm taking that vertex to. I'm going to hit R to rotate. I'm just going to push this right over to line up with that. It doesn't have to be a perfect lineup, just generally lined up right there. And now we're going to hit E to extrude on the y-axis. You see that green line right there? That green line is showing you how you can extrude. It's like kind of like a preview showing you where you can go. So I just took these vertices here, lined them up with that. For this, we want a C. This is eventually going to turn into the dragon's head. Now we're going to hit A to deselect everything. We're going to hit B to box select. We're going to grab these, looks like 4. It's actually 8 vertices. Turn your manipulator, push straight out just like this. I'm going to hold shift in the middle mouse button just to pan the whole view back. I'm going to hit A to deselect, B for box select. Grab these again. It looks like 2. It's actually 4 vertices. I'm going to push these forward just like that. I'm now going to hit A to deselect. Here's a very cool, useful shortcut. You're going to hold Control and the right middle mouse button. That allows you to do a loop cut. You're going to drag this loop select around these. Looks like 4, but it's actually 8 vertices. You're going to hit S to scale on the Z-axis like that. You're going to left click to lock in. Okay, now I'm going to hit 7 on my number keypad. This takes us into top view. I'm rolling my middle mouse button just to zoom out. I'm going to hold shift in the middle mouse button to pan a little bit. Now I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to take one of the most useful things in Blender, or shortcuts anyway. Control R to put a loop cut straight down the center. See this cursor right here? This cursor is directly in the center. We want this cursor directly in the center for what we're doing. If by some chance you right clicked and made your cursor move to the side like that, you can hit Shift C. That's Shift C, and you can see right here, and that'll put your cursor right back in the center where you need it to be. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to, in Blender you work by vertices, which you can see here, edges, which you can see here, and faces, which you can see here. So far we've been dealing with vertices. You're going to click right here to go to face select. I'm going to hit B now, and with that face select on, I'm going to draw a box over these faces here. I'm then going to hit X to delete. Bring up the delete menu, and then I'm going to select faces to delete those faces. Okay, now what I'm going to do, and this is when you're modeling in Blender, you tend to use this a lot. This basically cuts down your work to about half, because we cut this in half. Now we're going to hit this wrench right here. We're going to click this arrow right here next to add modifier. We're going to apply what's called a mirror modifier on. So we click here. You see this that popped up. This is showing what this is going to do is make this side do everything this side does. So when I move a vertex here, it'll move a vertex here. Right now it has that, kind of a transparent look. What you want to do is come over here. This right here is, when I add the modifier, this is actually representing the mirror modifier's properties here. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button just right over this edge, left click and pull. This clipping will keep this from separating. And basically, because I generally don't like seeing that transparent thing there, I'm just going to click right here. And this will make it look like it's, it's exactly like the other side. But effectively, the mirror modifier allows us to do half of the work. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to hit A to select everything. We're going to take this manipulator. Now, because we have that mirror modifier on with the clipping, when I pull here, it makes this wider. The reason why this is getting made wider is because here is the actual half of the model. Here's the mirrored half. But because of this clipping here, it keeps this center from pulling apart. So when I pull, I can actually use the mirror to make things wider, and that's what I just did here. We're going to hit A to deselect. We're actually going to select on our vertices here. Here's our lamp right here and a light that's in the background. Because we're in the object of this the dragon mesh, when I select, you don't have to worry about this light or this lamp being selected if that came into your mind. We're going to hit B to box select. I'm going to hit R to rotate. No axis. I'm going to pull out just a little bit more. Then I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y axis to get that general shape right there. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button and just turn. Then I'm going to hit Z to go non-transparent. I just want to get a look at this. Now I'm going to hit 3 to go into the side view on the number keyboard. Okay, now I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit Z to go transparent again. Remember, we go Z to transparent when we want to grab more than one vertex. It particularly helps when you're in orthographic mode. So I'm going to hit B to box select. I'm going to grab these faces right here. I'm just going to pull them out. You want to pull it out till it almost looks too long. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm now going to hit Control R for the loop cut. When I hit Control R, you see that purple line that just popped up there? That shows us a preview of where the loop cut's going to go. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel once and then twice. It's going to give us 3 loop cuts. I'm going to left click to lock in. Oops. I'm going to actually left click to lock in twice. So it's actually, you left click one time, it allows you to move, which is very useful in a lot of circumstances. Anyway, I'm going to go down here. Let me hit A to deselect right there. I'm going to hit Control R to put another loop cut in. I'm going to roll once, twice. I got 3 loop cuts now, right? I want to left click to lock in, left click to lock in again. And now what we're going to do is hit A to deselect. We're going to hit Z to go out of transparent mode. We're going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here. And we click one time, and then we're just moving the mouse forward slightly so we can get closer to the edges right there. About like that. Let me move it back. About like that. You're going to left click to lock in, left click to lock in again. And now what you're going to do is hit Z to go back into transparent mode. You're going to select right here to go to vertices select. You're then going to hit B for box select. You're going to grab right here. Oops, see this right here? I was about to pull up. I would have messed this up. You're going to hit A to deselect. And I just hit if you see this, everything gets highlighted. I'm just selecting everything to make sure that if everything's selected, then when I hit A again, everything's going to be deselected. Anyway, I'm going to hit B right here. I'm going to hit B for box select to grab these vertices right here. I'm going to take the manipulator and pull straight up like that. I'm going to hit A to deselect, B to box select. Take the manipulator and pull straight down like this. I'm going to hit A to deselect, B for box select. I'm going to grab right here, push straight down just like that. A to deselect, B to box select. I'm going to grab these vertices, push them down like there. Matter of fact, I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hold Control and the right middle mouse button to grab this whole loop right here. I'm going to pull this up like that. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit Z to go into transparent mode. I'm going to go back to face select. I'm going to select these faces right here. And I selected one, and I selected the other one by holding shift. So let me show you that. Select one, hold shift. I select both. I'm going to hit E to extrude one time. That just creates new geometry. So I left click in. So basically it doesn't look like I did anything. I just created new geometry. I could have did this by an inset. I tend to do E to create new geometry just because before when I was learning Blender, it didn't have an inset. So anyway, you hit E to make the new geometry. Because there's new geometry there, I hit S to scale. I scale when it's basically giving us an eye socket. I'm going to hit S to scale in the Z axis to just change the shape of it a little bit. And holding middle mouse to turn so I can see the view. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Just pushing in the eye a little bit like that. Then I'm going to hit X to bring up the delete menu and select faces to delete. If any of you guys have done my T-Rex tutorial and you're like, he's making a T-Rex, think of it as almost like doing a martial arts kata, right? When I'm making a humanoid character, I have the basic style and theme that I go through, which gives me a humanoid character. Because I remember how to do that basic shape, it allows me to do it quickly. Kind of like a martial artist does a kata to practice their forms. It's like a memorized, version of things. So I basically start off doing a dragon, kind of like a T-Rex head. It gives me a basic reptilian shape, and then it'll change from there. Anyway, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn. I'm just turning to the front with holding the middle mouse button. I'm going to go to edge select. I'm actually going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side. I'm going to hold with edge select on. I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to select these edges right here. This manipulator gets in your way. Like, see, I held shift. I tried to click. The manipulator stopped me. You hit control space. It'll take the manipulator temporarily out of the way. So you just want to select all these vertices here. I'm going to hit control space to bring the manipulator back. I'm just going to pull up slightly like that. And do the same here. I'm going to hold control space, temporarily take the manipulator away. I held shift and selected all those edges there. Then I'm going to hit control space. Just push down slightly there. I'm now going to do the same thing on the side. I'm going to hit A to deselect all that. Still with the edge select on. I'm going to hold shift. Select all of these edges right here. You can see the mirror modifier helping us out. When I'm pushing here, the mirror modifier does the same thing on the other side. And the whole reason I'm just pushing this in is to give this more 3Dness, more edges, so it's not so flat. To give it more roundness, I guess you would say, even though it's not quite round. But anyway, same thing here. I just held an edge select. I just held shift and selected here, so just going to push in there a little. Okay, I'm now going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. So I'm turning the screen. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit Z to go transparent. I'm going to hit 3 to go in the side view. And I'm then going to hit control space. And I'm holding control, not hitting, holding control. I'm going to grab this part of the face of I'm going to hit A. I didn't grab everything. I'm actually going to go to vertice select. I'm holding control and the right mouse button to do this vertice select. And I'm just grabbing that whole piece right there. I'm just going to push forward like this. And hit Z to go transparent. And hit Z again to go transparent. I'm going to hit B for box select. And then pull up a little bit right like that. I'm going to hit control. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to go Control R for loop cut. I'm going to put 2 loop cuts in here. I'm going to hit Control R, put 2 loop cuts there in the bottom. And hit Z to go transparent. I'm going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here. Push down just slightly. I'm going to select, do face select. You see, like sometimes when you go to select something else, a lot of times it will deselect everything. If you're not sure if something deselects, that's when I hit A to. That's when I'll hit A to deselect everything, or sometimes or drastically I'll hit A to select everything to deselect. And there you're going to go to face select. You're going to go right here. This is going to be a nostril. I'm just hold my middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Then left clicking, we just created new geometry, though it didn't look like we did anything. And because we have that new square that's on top of the old square, now we can hit S to scale, and this will give us our nostril thing. And it's cool because it also gives us ridges kind of for our nostril also. So with that nostril face still selected, we're going to hit E to extrude, and we're just going to push in and left click to lock in. And we'll come back to the head. We just want to get the basic shape in. Now we're going to come, whoops. We're going to actually put let me hit A to deselect. Make sure I just hit A twice, or actually I hit it 3 times there to make sure everything was deselected. I'm going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here. Left click to lock in. Now we're going to turn. I just held the middle mouse button to turn to the back. I'm going to go to vertices select. I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. Now what you're going to do is you are going to make sure you have your vertices select on. You're going to grab the vertices right here. So I grab this vertice, Mirror grabs that one. I'm going to hold Shift, select that one right there. I'm going to hit X, not E. And then I'm going to delete. X brings up the delete menu. I'm going to select vertices to delete right here. I'm then going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to hold down Alt. When you hold Alt and select on an edge, it allows you to select the entire edge loop. So I'm going to select this whole edge right here. I'm actually going to pull back some like that. I'm now going to hit E to extrude on the Y-axis like this. Remember the beginning I told you the add-ons, the loop cut tools? Well, now you're going to hit W to bring up your specials menu. Here's that loop tools. Now, as long as you, in the beginning, you followed me and you went to user preferences, add-ons, and you put a check near loop cut, you'll see this loop cut tools. If you don't see that, you have to go to file user preferences, add-ons, and make a check next to loop cut. So one of the very useful things with this loop cut tools, you see this right here, how it's got that square shape because it just, we extruded the edge. We hit W. We can go to loop cut tools and we just hit circle and it automatically makes it circular. Now you don't have to do that from the loop cut tools. You can do it yourself. It's just much quicker and nice that Blender has that in there for us. Anyway, with that circular shape made now, we're going to pull this down some. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Y-axis again. We're going to pull this down some and we're still on Edge Select. We're going to hit S to scale. When I'm pulling down, I'm just using the manipulator to pull down. So I'm going to change this, use the manipulator to get the shape that I want. So I'm trying to get this dragon looking neck that I want. So what I did now was I'm still on Edge Select. I held Alt and I put right here just to grab that whole loop on the neck. I'm going to hit R to rotate on the X axis just a little bit. And I'm going to hold Alt and grab this loop cut right here. And I'm holding Shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. I'm going to hit E to extrude. I'm going to hold R, hit R, and then X to rotate right here. And what we're doing right now is just trying to get a basic shape of this dragon. We'll come back and we'll put in what we need to get it to look like. We're just getting a basic shape. Once a basic shape's in there, we can play and have fun. So right now, again, this is just the basic shape. So, yep. See, you can make a mistake you get so caught up in looking from one side. When you're in 3D, you've got to look front to side, front to side. I've made so many 3D models I still forget. So you see how this is like getting this weird shape right here. We can easily solve that. Because the mirror modifier is on here with clipping, we just pull it to the side and look at that. It makes it nice and circular. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude on the Y-axis. About like that. We're going to hit R to rotate on the X-axis. We're going to hit S to scale to make this a little bit bigger. And I'm actually going to hit, see how this is diagonal. If I want this to be straight, I mean straight up and down, I can, this is a cool trick in Blender. I can hit S to scale on the y-axis. See that line that just popped out? That's showing us we're in the y-axis. So now when I hit 0 and then left click, you see how it automatically says S to scale on the y-axis 0 will make this go straight this way. Very useful. Okay, so what we're going to do is I just took the manipulator, obviously just pushed. I'm going to E to extrude on the y-axis. Take this back like here. And what I'm doing now is I'm just setting up for where I want the front leg to go in, and I want it to be like even, kind of even faces right here. So now I'm going to hit E to extrude on the y-axis, E to extrude on the y-axis again. Remember, again, we're just putting in the basic shape here. We're going to hit E to extrude on the y-axis again. And what I'm doing here, as I'm going on, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to put a leg in here. This is space. This is space. I want a second leg in here, or setting up for a second leg. It's interesting, a new way I found of doing things. But anyway, we're just getting a basic shape. And then now, so this is leg, space, space, leg. Now here is, space after the leg. So we're going to hit S to scale on the Z-axis. I'm going to push this down a little bit. E to extrude on the Y-axis. Hit S to scale to go down a little bit. E to extrude on the Y-axis. S to scale to go down a little bit. We got to look to the side. So it's too wide. So I'm going to hit S to scale on the X-axis. But even then, we can change all this stuff. So it's just a basic shape. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude on the Y-axis. Take this back fairly far like that, right? We've got that circular shape. So to get rid, I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan in so you can see what's going on here. I'm going to hit Alt-M. Brings up this merge menu. I'm then going to select collapse. Gives us 2 points right here. I'm going to hit Control Space to, where's my manipulator at? I'll go to, when we hit Alt-M, the vertices should be selected, but because we're on Edge Select, we can't see anything. So watch what happens when we select vertices. Select, boom, we can see our vertices right there. I'm going to hit Control Space to bring back manipulator. We're just going to push this together and then hit A to deselect. Okay, now I'm going to hold Shift and my middle mouse button. I'm holding Shift and the middle mouse button allows me to pan. Rolling with the middle mouse button, holding the middle mouse button to turn, holding Shift with the middle mouse button to pan. And now we want to come in right here. And what we want to do is select this edge right here. And what should happen, I'm trying to think where I want the leg to come in. So I actually want the leg to be right here. All right. So I select here, and what's going to happen is I'm going to delete this menu. I'm going to delete this edge. And when I delete this edge, this should disappear and this should disappear. The leg should eventually end up right here. I'm trying to decide if that's how I want it to be. You know what? I don't want it. I want the leg to actually be right here. So we're going to hit, I selected there. So now we're going to hit X to bring up the delete menu. And we're going to go to edges. And see that, how it made that delete right there? Those two faces. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm still in edge select. I'm holding the middle mouse button just to rotate. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse in the pan. Zooming in right here just so I can select easier. I'm going to select right here, hold Shift, select this edge. And I'm just holding the middle mouse button, turn to the side just so I can make sure I get a good view of this edges as I extrude them. So I'm going to hit E to extrude on the X-axis. See that red line showing you a preview of the X-axis where you can extrude? Pretty cool. I want to extrude about that far. I'm holding the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y-axis to push these edges in towards each other. I'm now going to hit F to fill in between those edges. I'm now going to go to vertice select. I'm going to select this vertice here. I'm going to hold Shift, this vertice, this vertice, this vertice. I'm going to hit F to fill in that part right there. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm now going to hit Control R to put a loop cut in. You can see our loop cut. Wherever I move the mouse, it gives us a preview. You want it right here. I'm going to left click to lock it in, left click to lock in again. And now what we're going to do is go back to face select, select right here, hit S to scale. And then sometimes I'll talk fast. It's just we have a lot of ground to cover. I want to try to say as many shortcuts as I can. And sometimes the only way to do that and to get the tutorial actually done is just to speak, fast on some of these parts. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we are going to go back to loop, we're going to go back to edge select. We're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to hold Alt. We're going to select right here. While holding Alt, it grabs this loop right here, which is great, because that's exactly what we wanted to do. Now we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis, and you can see there's that blue line showing us a preview where it's going to go. We pull down to about here. Excuse me. You remember that thing where I showed you how you could flatten out the side? We don't want this. This is going to make things just difficult. So how do we get rid of that? We hit S to scale on the Z axis this time. See that line showing us the preview where it's going to go? Then when we hit circle, flattens it out. Lovely. And we left click to lock it in. Okay, and with that loop still selected, now we're going to do, see that square? We don't want that. So guess what we can do? Beautiful. Specials menu, that loop tools I told you about in the beginning, the add-ons. We go to, guess what, circle. And now we have a nice circular shape. We're going to hit S to scale this down just slightly. And now what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis again. Left click to lock in. We're just holding the middle mouse button, turning so we can get a 3D look. S to scale, down again. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis again. We're going to push it forward this time. Hit S to scale it in some, right? So you can see the arm, forming there, the dragon. Again, the basic shape, even the sides and stuff we can change later. It's just getting the basic shapes. And now we're going to E to extrude on the Z axis. We're going to hit S to scale. Push that forward just a little bit. And that's basically what we have here. We're going to be forming the claws of this thing. So we're going to hit S to scale. I want it to have like nice big claws. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit something I started using just fairly recently. You're going to hit space to bring up your space bar. I'm not sure if this is an add-on or not to do this, but if you hit space and it doesn't bring on, it might be an add-on that you have to select. Anyway, you hit space to bring up, you can actually, this is pretty cool because what's here is you can pretty much, anything you want to know or almost anything you can search for it. So I want the grid select. I'm not sure where it's at. So I go to search. I go to hit spacebar to bring it to search. I go here and now I just put in GRID. Grid fill. That's what I want. I couldn't even remember the name. The grid fill. I want that. I click here. Blender automatically shows me the grid fill. And then I'm just going to select here. And what the grid fill does is instead of second. There we go. Instead of just bringing this in, just putting a flat plane there with no edges. Let me show this to you. I'm going to hit Control Z so you can see this. I'm going to hit S to scale again. I don't want to confuse you, but this is pretty cool to know about actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit F. Normally I would have just hit F. You see that right there? See how it's just a flat plane right there and it can cause problems later on? So I'm going to hit Control Z to take it away. So I'm going to hit space bar. Brings up the, that brings up the dynamic space bar. I go to search and then grid fill remembers what's there before. So I click grid fill and now I can set the parameters of grid fill and instead of bringing up that solid thing, it actually gives us some edges very easily. So pretty cool. Anyway, what you're going to do now is you're going to hit Control R. You're going to bring up a loop cut right here. Left click to lock it in. You're now going to go to face select. You're going to grab these faces. You're going to grab that face, this one, while holding shift to grab all three of them. Now, by the way, when I say add-ons, the add-ons that I'm generally talking about are not things that I went outside of Blender to search for. They're actually add-ons that are inside of Blender, already inside. So when you download Blender, you have these add-ons. The interesting thing is you have to choose to turn these add-ons on, like I showed you when we first started this tutorial. So I just don't want you to think that when I say an add-on, I'm going to some website downloading something. The add-ons that I'm talking about are actually, if you're using Blender 2.71, you have these add-ons in your program. You just turn them on by file, user preferences, add-ons, and then put a check mark next to it. Anyway, with these faces selected, what you're going to do is hit Alt-E. You're going to extrude. It brings up the extrude menu. You can extrude by individual faces. So you're just going to pull no axis like this. Left click to lock in. You're going to hit Alt-E again. Extrude again by individual faces. Take it up. Now what you're going to do is hit Alt-M. Remember that from the tail. Brings up this merge menu. We're going to collapse. You can't see anything selected because you have face selected on. Face selection. Now we're going to go to vertice, select, and then we're just going to push down, push out a little bit. Very cool. I really like how easy it is to do that. Is very cool. And what we're going to do here is the same thing. We're going to right here. We're going to hit because it's only one face. We don't need to extrude on individual faces like we did in the front. So we're going to hit E to extrude, no access. Then we're going to hit E to extrude again, and we're going to hit Alt M. We're going to go to collapse. We're going to go to vertice, select, and we're just going to push down and just shape this slightly. Now this next part's kind of interesting. Okay, it's interesting because in the past what I would have done was I would have looked right here. We wanted these two spaces in between. I would have went right here, deleted the edge right here and recreated the leg, but that's not necessary. And I'll show you how, how we can do it without saving, we can do it and save a little time by doing something. We can get the leg and save a little time by doing something different. I'm going to hit A to deselect there. I'm going to hit Z to go transparent. I'm going to hit B for box select. I'm going to grab this part of the tail right here. I'm going to hit Y. And what that Y does, it just separates this mesh. It keeps it in this object. So this drag and mesh is one object. So when I hit Y, I'm going to left click to lock in. I hit Y. All it did was just separated this from here. So now I can pull this over here. And we want to make sure we hit A to deselect there. Now what I want to do is I'm actually going to hit A and A again just to make sure everything was deselected. I'm going to hit B. I'm going to grab all these faces right here. I'm actually going to go to face select. It would have worked with vertice select also. I just prefer to delete on faces most of the time. Anyway, I'm going to select all these faces right here. I'm going to hit X to bring it to delete menu. Then I'm going to hit faces to deselect, right? Now what I'm going to do is I am going to hold Control and the right mouse button to bring up the loop select. And I am going to just go right here, grab this entire leg. Actually, let me hit A. I'm going to go to vertice select. I'm going to hold Control in the right mouse button to bring up this loop select. I'm going to select all of these vertices right here, right? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to hit Shift D, which lets me copy all of those selected vertices. I'm going to left click to lock in. I'm going to pull this right back to about here. The reason why I put it back this distance was I don't want these claws intersecting with those claws. And that I'm going to hit A to deselect. That specials menu I told you about in the beginning, it's very useful for many reasons. If we wanted to duplicate this and connect this, before, in a different way, we might have to go vertice to vertice and connect them that way. Very easily, what we can do is we'll go to Edge Select. I'm holding the middle mouse button to turn to the side. I'm going to hold Alt, which lets, when I hold Alt and select an edge, it allows me to select that entire edge. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button to turn so I can see here. I'm going to hold Shift, and holding Shift allows these ones to still stay selected. Now, while holding Shift, I'm going to hold Alt, select right here. So we have this edge loop selected. We have this edge loop selected. Now we're going to hit W to bring up the specials menu, go to Loop Tools, go to Bridge, and you can see right there, it very quickly and easily connects these two. And because it's the same vertice count, we don't have any problems. It's just an easy way to connect it. And now we have our legs without, doing all the work of doing the legs again. Okay, so now I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button. Now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the edge right here. In Blender, if you select an edge and just have one piece of something, if you hit Control L to grab the rest of it, I'm going to take the manipulator and just push this straight forward. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to hit A to deselect. With the edge selected on, I'm going to hold Alt, grab this loop right there, hold the middle mouse button and turn. You can still see all of the loop is selected right there. I'm going to hold Shift and Alt, select the loop right here. So I have this loop selected, and this is what you need for Bridge to work. This loop selected and this loop. I'm going to hit W to bring the specials menu, Loop Tools, and Bridge. And now we have that, this all connected. Okay, now if you're looking at this dragon now thinking this thing looks very ugly and pathetic, I think it looks that way now, but just like a drawing, it's not done. It's under progress, so don't be alarmed by how it looks, particularly right now. Okay, what we're going to do is hit A to deselect. We're going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right there in. And now what we're going to do is we are going to we're going to go to face select. We're going to select right here. We're going to hold control space, temporarily take away the manipulator. We're going to select right here, and what we're going to do is hit E to extrude on the no axis. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis and bring this in kind of like that. Okay, we're going to hit E to extrude, bring it up a little bit more. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. We're going to hit control space to bring on our manipulator, push it up just a little bit like that, pull it back just a little bit like that, hit E to extrude, no axis, push it in, just a little bit. Then we're going to hit E to extrude yet again, like that. Now we're going to hit Control R to put a loop cut going this way in. Okay, now we are going to hit Z to go transparent. We're going to hit our face select. Get this so it's easy to see. I'm going to hit B to box select. I'm going to grab just that part right there. Hit Z to go transparent. I'm just going to push that back a little bit that way. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit Control R to put another loop cut right here. Okay, I'm going to go to face select. Select here, hold shift, select right there. Manipulator gets in your way. You guys should know how to get it out of the way by now. I'm going to hold control. I'm going to hit R, to rotate. Just slightly. I'm going to hit E to extrude, no axis. I'm going to hit S to scale. Take my manipulator, I'm just pushing up a little bit. And I'm going to make this. Typically when I'm modeling things, I'm always thinking about rigging, so I don't want to make it too difficult to rig. So anyway, I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y-axis. Push up a little bit like there. E to extrude on the Y-axis again. I'm going to hit R to rotate on the X-axis. Then E to extrude. You know what? Hit Control Z. I don't take it down. I'm gonna hit Control R to put a loop cut in. I'm gonna pull the loop cut to about here. I'm gonna go to face select. Select right here, so you guys can see. I'm gonna hit E to extrude. Pull just a little bit. I'm going to hit S to scale it down just slightly. Then I'm going to hit E to extrude again and hit S to scale to bring that in. And again, just like I was telling you before, we just want the basic, shape. We should be able to play with this. So we have the basic shape of our dragon here now. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to hit tab. We've been in edit mode this whole time. We're going to hit tab. Whoops, we're going to hit tab to go in object mode. We're going to apply the mirror modifier. We're going to hit tab to go back into edit mode. And what we're going to do is I'm holding the middle mouse button just to rotate. I'm going to hit Z to go transparent. I'm going to hold shift to zoom in. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hold control and the right middle mouse button to get a loop tool select. I'm going to hit C because I don't want these grabbed. And when you hit C, see this little paint select here? If I hold the middle mouse button, I can deselect things. Why is it not deselecting? And it's shift. I'm not shift. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and C. That's why. There we go. Yeah, if you hold C and then the middle mouse button, it'll let you deselect. Okay, so with that head selected, what we're going to do is I'm going to go to vertice select. We're just going to hit S, scale this head up pretty much way bigger than it was. Hit S to scale yet again to about like that. We're going to hit S to scale on the X-axis to make it wider like that. We're going to hit go to edge edge select, we're going to hold Alt, select this edge right here. We're going to hit S to scale. Okay, then we're going to hit Z to go transparent, A to deselect. We're going to go back to vertices, select. We're going to hold Control and our right middle mouse button, select all of these vertices and just push them forward. Not too much, slightly like that. We're going to hit A to deselect, Control R to put another loop cut in. We're then going to hit Control and the right mouse button to make a loop select the entire body underneath the neck, about right there, all those vertices. Hold the middle mouse button, turn the side, and hit Z to go transparent. We're going to hit S to scale in the X-axis, and we're making the whole body wider, kind of more powerful looking. S to scale in the X-axis just a little bit more. Okay, now we're going to hit 1 on our number keypad to go in the front view. You want to be in front ortho view. You're going to hit Shift C to make sure your cursor is right in the center. You're going to hit A to deselect. You're going to hit Z to go transparent. You're going to hit B for box select. You're going to select this whole half right here. You want it directly in the center. As a matter of fact, go to make sure you're on face select before you do it. You're going to select this whole half right here. And you can see you're going to hit X to delete it. Delete all those faces. You're going to go back. You're going to apply another mirror modifier. The reason why we did that was that the scaling, a lot of times with the mouth, it causes problems. So it's better to just, do it without the mirror modifier. And you can, if you have projects where you have problems where in the center you have mistakes, you can just easily apply the mirror modifier, do what you need to do, and then reapply, cut your mesh, separate it so it's 2 halves again, and or 1 half again, then reapply the mirror modifier. So you're going to turn clipping back on. I'm going to click right here. All right, so now what we are going to do is we're going to hit Control 2. Whoops. We're going to hit Control 2, which automatically applies a subdivision surface. You can see right here the modifier. This popped in now, and by hitting Control 2, it puts a subdivision surface on, which is a modifier like mirror, and that modifier makes everything smooth. And because I hit Control 2, it put a view 2 and a render of 2 on it. And you're going to click right here so you can see everything clearly. You're going to hit A to select everything. You're going to hit W to bring up your specials menu. Then you're going to go to Shade Smooth. Okay, and what this did was this, I'm going to hit A, deselect, smoothed out your dragon. You can see it's all smoothed out, very funny looking now, but it's ready for us to play with. And then we can temporarily go back. Just by hitting this eye, we can turn it off so we're back without our smoothness. So we're going to go do some work on the face of this dragon. So let's zoom in here. Now the other stuff is kind of like setting up. This is kind of the fun part here, is how I think of it anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit a 3 to go right. You want to hit 5 if you're not in orthographic. You can see if you're in orthographic view or not here. Like if I hit 5, it'll take me into perspective. I hit 5, go back. It goes back to orthographic. What you're going to do is you're going to hit Z to go transparent. You're going to hold Control and the right middle mouse button, get loop select. You're going to select all this right here. Then you're going to hit H. H temporarily hides that geometry. You're going to hit Z to go transparent. You're going to have your face select on. You're going to hit C, and you're going to paint all of this top mouth part right here. You're going to hit E to extrude. Left click to lock in. We just created new geometry and allows us to scale it down. We're going to scale it down some. We're going to hit S to scale on the X-axis to pull it in some. We're going to take a manipulator and push it back some like that. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y-axis just slightly because we don't want vertices, faces overlapping themselves, but we want this lip for the mouth. So go like that. Now we're going to hit E to extrude yet again on the Z-axis. If it wobbles, hit Z again. You want to push this down through the roof of the mouth of the bottom of your dragon mouth. The reason why you want to push it down is because by pushing it down, you can temporarily see it and then, scale your mouth, the bottom part. And then once you scale it, you can just, push it back up. And it's, you got enough depth and, you can, easily mess around with it there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to hit Alt H to bring back what we hid, right? Now we're going to go to 3 yet again. We're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to hit Z to go transparent. We're going to hold Control and the right middle mouse button. We're going to grab all of this right here. Select all that. The faces, we're going to hit H to hide. We're going to hit Z to go solid. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit C. We're going to grab all of this part of the mouth right here. Whoops. Not there. And we're going to hit E to extrude to create new geometry. We just created new geometry there. We're going to hit S to scale, just like we did before. S to scale on the X-axis to pull it in a little bit. We're going to pull it down a little bit. Remember, we don't want the faces overlapping if possible. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y-axis. Right, it's starting to overlap, so we just take a manipulator, push it up some. And now we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z-axis. If it's wobbly, hit Z again. Take it through the top of the mouth. Hit S to scale on the X-axis. And then we're just going to push this back down. Make sure it's all in. Good. We're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to hit Alt-H to bring back what we hid. And then A to deselect. Okay, we want some ridges around this thing's nostrils and its eye. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Face Select right here. We're actually going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here. Left click to lock in. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the faces right here. Whoops. Control Z. I moved it by accident. Thing was getting in my way. The manipulator, I'm going to hold Shift and select all of this right here. I'm going to hit E to extrude. And then I just left click to lock in. I just wanted that so I could make this bigger. Actually, I'm going to hit Control Z. I still have the extrude on there, I believe. And yes, I do. So you're going to just pull straight up on that extrude and just pull out on that one face. So we have, and that's extruding like that because, let me do this again. I don't want to annoy you, but I don't want to confuse. I can imagine confuse you. So now we're going back before. All right, so this is before we extrude. So if I click here without the extrusion, you see what happens? It's actually not too bad. Not too bad about the... Not too bad without the extrusion, to be honest. But I still want more geometry. So sorry people, Control Z back. So, okay, so this is before we have the extrude. So what we're doing is we're selecting these faces here. Hit Control Space just to temporarily take that away. We're extruding right here to create new geometry. So I hit E, we create new geometry. I left click to lock in. And now with that, I select this face right here. I hit Control Space to bring the manipulator back. And I pull straight up. And that gives us a nice nostril ridge. We're just dragging. We're going to do the same thing with the eye. I'm going to hold Shift and then grab all these faces right here. I'm going to hit E to extrude. And then I'm just going to pull up and out. And it gives us a nice eye ridge thing going on there. I'm going to grab this vertice right here in the front. I'm actually going to hit O to turn on this thing. This is a proportional edit tool. When I select right here, all right, so I turn this on. Proportional edit allows you to move multiple vertices in different ways. I'm going to hit G. Now when I hit, oops, what the heck? What's going on? When I hit G, with that proportional edit on, see that circle right there? The reason why you can see that circle is because I'm pushing G. Now, see how it lets me pull multiple things? I want this mouth to turn down slightly. See how the proportional edit's affecting the bottom part of the mouth? I don't want that, though. So I can fix that by clicking here and going to connected. Now, only what's connected to here will be affected by it, not this part here. So I'm going to hit G again. Main reason I'm hitting G is so I can grab and see the proportional edit. So I'm going to push down just slightly. Like that. You know what? I want this thing to snarl for the rig, so I don't want it to be too pronounced, come to think of it. Okay, so we're going to hit 3 on the number keypad. Go in that side view. Let me hit 3 again, go back in the side view. And what we're going to do is hit Z to go transparent. We're going to hit B for box select. And we're going to grab this part of the jaw right here. We're just going to, whoops. So what happens when you don't deselect. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit B again to grab all right here. I'm just going to push, and that proportional edit is still on, but it didn't affect anything. We can see the mouth part pulled down in there. Hit Z to take a look at that. Or actually, I want to grab this edge right here, these edges right here, holding shift to grab them. I'm just going to pull, whoops, I'm going to hit Control Z. I'm going to hit O to turn off the proportional. I hit O one time because it was unconnected. Now I'm going to hit O again. Whoops, O again. Now it's off. And you can tell if it's on or off by right there. I want to pull up here. Yep, good. I like that. I'm going to select right here. Now I'm going to hold Shift. Make sure you only have this part deselected. And I'm going to push down there like that. Okay, now what we're going to do is go into sculpt mode and start making some changes. So we're going to click this eye right back here to turn back on. So we have our modifier on. It just looked like it was off. So we click here to turn this back on. So now we're going to go into sculpt mode. And sculpt mode is just fun, I think, in Blender. So we're in edit mode here. We click right here. We go into sculpt mode, right? We're going to click here. These are your brushes for sculpt mode. They do different things in here. The main thing we'll probably use in here is grab and smooth. So we're going to grab is the main thing that I use in scope mode. And it's very useful. See how this thing looks very skinny and pathetic? So what we're going to do is we're going to hit F. F, if I pull out, it makes it big. It makes my area that I can control bigger. If I push in, it makes it smaller. So first thing I'm going to do is, actually, let me show you one other thing. See right here, it looks like a piece of clay. Generally when you grab, when you pull, it'll move where you pull. However, to make it easier, if you go right here to your active data button, scroll down to wire. Right now you see this big thing. It's like, oh my gosh, that looks complicated. You come back to this wrench, which is your modifier menu, and you go to optimal display. And now you can see right where you pull, exactly where you pull will not, maybe not exactly, but for the most part where you pull will be what is changed. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just making the legs look more muscular. I'm going to grab this neck, make that look bigger. This I'm going to give him an actual chest. I'm going to go hit edit, go back into edit mode. I'm going to hit Z to go transparent. I'm going to hit 3 to go to number keypad. I'm going to hit B for box select and grab these legs, and I'm just going to, oops, see this right here. Now, if you already have a selection, you don't want to hit A to deselect. If you hit C, and then I roll the middle mouse button to make this bigger, I can hold the middle mouse button, and it will deselect right there, right? So I'm going to select vertice select. I'm going to hit C again and vertice select to deselect these vertices here. And I just want to pull these legs down further like that. I'm going to hit Z to go transparent. And I actually want the claws to be bigger, so I'm going to hit 3 to go totally ortho, hit Z to go transparent, hit A to deselect, and I'm going to hit B to box select, and I'm going to hit Z to go transparent. I'm going to hit S to scale, because I just want these claws to be, whoops, crap. You don't want them touching, because the mirror modifier, the claws touch, it'll cause all kinds of problems. Hit S to scale. As soon as they get too close, take and pull here. Pull them apart. I'm going to hit S to scale because I want them to be bigger. There we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is go back into sculpt mode. And we're just going to keep making adjustments in here. So, that's what I said. Once you have the basic shape, you really can particularly come into sculpt mode and play and do some nice things. It's just getting that basic the basic shape. Tail, you know, how it looks, you know, I told you it looked funny to me. Still looks kind of funny, but we can fix that. So it looks like I'm gonna have to go, I'm gonna go back to edit mode. Pull these legs down again. I'm gonna hit Z, and they're still selected, so we'll just pull down. Matter of fact, we'll hit Control R, put some loop cuts in, Control R, roll the mouse wheel, put 2 loop cuts in. Gives us some more distance to play with. Go back to scope mode. And if this thing is, you know, causing too much, you know, you just shrink it. And we can, you know, even position, like make this leg look more like a back leg in here fairly easily just by, you know, playing with the vertices, pushing this forward. And it helps to go back and forth. And so I'm going to go back to edit mode. I'm actually going to hit Z, hit A to deselect, B to box select, grab all this right here. Because we're back in mirror modifier, I want this wider, so I'm just going to pull like that. Make it thicker and wider. Looks all scrunched up, so I'm going to hit Z to go transparent, 3 to go side view, hit A. I'm going to hit Control, grab all this stuff right here, give some space and pull that back some. I guess I'll put a, I don't want it, I'm going to Control Z to take that loop cut out. I don't want it like that, quite like that. Control R, put a loop cut actually in here. I'm going to hit Alt while holding the edge. I'm just going to push this loop cut up slightly there. So let's go back into scope mode. Tail looks all crazy looking. It's pretty easy to fix in inside of scope mode. Scope mode, I'm just pushing and pulling. In the wings, we can, you know, make them look more majestic. It's very cool. The stuff you can do in scope mode, how easy it is to you know, maneuver the thing. Shrink this down. Hit F to lower the area of influence down. I'm going to zoom in on these claws because they look kind of funny. The claws, see, we're going to do a technique that will make them look a lot better, but I want to have this ankle area looking better. You gotta go back and forth between scope mode and edit mode to get your best results. See my brain trying to concentrate, like shutting off there. Alright, so let's go back into edit mode. Oops. Hit A to deselect. Go back to this thing's face. I'm gonna grab the put in face select right here. Grab these right here. Pull up and out. I'm gonna grab these face is right here. I'm going to hit Control. I'm going to hit Alt O to turn on my connected proportional edit. That's Alt O to turn that on. And remember that selects only what's touching. When that scroll this down, pull this in. Whoops, got to watch out for that edge of the mouth there. So actually what I'm going to do is turn the proportional edit on. Enable, so that it moves. Remember the part of the mouth that we put inside? So with this on, it'll actually move that also. So I can G and then Y to pull this back some. I'm going to select the faces here. I'm going to hold Control Alt to temporarily take that out of the way. I'm going to hold this right here. I'm going to hit Control Alt to bring it back. Squish that in some. Squish this in some more. There we go. Starting to look better. It's fun. It's fun stuff. Blows my mind that you can do this with a open source program. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so we have his face starting to look better. Let's go ahead and put some eyes in his head. Okay, for this we're going to be going in and out of edit and object mode. So we're going to go as edge select. So we're in, where we've been at edit mode inside of the dragon mesh. We're going to hold Alt to select this loop cut right here. It's a very useful tool that I've been using much more recently. So I'm going to show you now. So we have this selected, right? You can see that whole edge loop right there. Now we're going to hit Shift S. It brings up this snap to cursor. We want cursor to selected. Cursor to selected puts that 3D cursor right in the center of the eye, exactly where we want it. Now we're going to hit is tab to go back into object mode, all right? So we're in object mode. We're outside of the dragon mode, but the cursor is still there where we snapped it. So by being in dragon mode, it allowed us to grab this edge, bring that 3D cursor directly to the center of this edge. And basically we wanted that because we want our eyeball to be right. Why worry about struggling where to put it? We have our 3D cursor in Blender. Wherever your 3D cursor is at is where your objects will come in at. So I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to go to UV sphere. That UV sphere comes in. As a matter of fact, before doing that, let me hit Control Z. Our dragon mesh is huge. The dragon mesh is so huge that the grid for Blender is inside of it. So before we put eyes and teeth and all that in, what we're actually going to do is go hit tab to go back into the dragon mesh. We're going to hit A to deselect everything. We're going to hit S to scale. Now see, as we scale down, it stretches the dragon out. Hit Control Z, sorry. Don't scale down with this proportional edit on. Hit O to turn that off. Whoops. Hit O to turn it off. Make sure it's off. Now hit S to scale. All right. Now, the reason why I'm having you scale it down is if you want to animate this thing or do some things later so it's not crazy. See the camera in there? There's like the scale of the terrain and everything for the dragon. We want to get it so it can walk on there if we wanted to animate this thing. Which generally when I make things, I make them animate. So when we scaled it down, see how it's stretched out? That's no big deal. It's because of the clipping. We just take this and we push it back together. All right. So now we scale it down again. It'll stretch out yet again. Then we just take it, push it back. There's reasons why you want to do this in edit mode instead of object mode. As far as origin points, everything can be fixed. But whoops, crap. Hit Control Z. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have them overlap. That's a mistake. Hit S to scale down again. And this is a fairly decent scale. It actually could walk around on there now. Take a manipulator and push it in. Not too far. Don't have your vertices over select. Look at it, and hopefully you guys have been saving as you do this, All right, so there we go. All right, so now that we have that, I'm sorry because your cursor will definitely not be in the right place again. You're going to have to redo it. So we're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to go to edge select. We're going to hold shift. We're going to go right again, right to that eye. We're going to hold alt right there. We're going to hit shift S to bring up the cursor to select cursor to select it. Now, even though it's a smaller scale, it still works. So now we're going to hit tab to go into object mode. We're going to hit In object mode, 3D cursor is here. Wherever the 3D cursor is at is where 3D object will come in at. We're going to hit Shift A. We're going to go to Mesh, UV Sphere. Here is the UV Sphere. I'm just rolling back with the middle mouse button. When the UV Sphere comes in, don't click anything. The reason why you don't want to click anything is because when it comes in, this menu pops up and gives you options. You don't want 32 segments. It's too many. You click right here. You hit 12. Go down to Rings. Select, hit 12. Now you can click and do something with this. If you don't change those segments first and you try to click something else, you'll lose the ability to change those segments. So now we're going to hit Tab to go inside of edit mode for this UV sphere. It's going to be the eye. Okay, and with that UV sphere selected, you're going to hit S to scale, and you're going to scale it right down. You'll see it should scale down right to where it should be for the eyeball. I'm going to left click just so I can zoom in. It's still selected, so I'm going to hit S to scale. And there it goes. You can see it scaling down right where we want it, in that eye socket. And for this dragon, I want it to be fairly small. I don't want it to be, filling up the eye socket too much. So what we're going to do now is hit 1 on our number keypad. Because the scale's smaller, it'll make it a little bit, take you out a little bit. You can hit, see how small it is now? You can hit period in your number keyboard, and it'll take you right in. What we're going to do now is you're going to look on your number keypad, and you'll see right next to the number lock, there's a backslash key. Hit that. That takes you into local mode. You can look right here, front ortho graphic local mode. And basically what it does, orthographic local mode just takes you, so all you can focus on what you're working on, which is the eye right now, right? With the eye still selected, everything's still selected, right? What you're going to do is hit Shift D, all right? You created a separate UV sphere, right? I didn't click anything, so I'm going to right click. It snaps it right inside there. With it still selected, the second UV is still selected, you're going to hit S to scale 0.94. Left click to lock in. Now, I know you can't see it, but what we just did was we scaled that second UV, which is still selected. It's inside of this UV, still selected. So while it's still selected, you're going to hit R to rotate on the X-axis 90. Left click to lock in. It's still selected. So to deselect, you're going to hit A to deselect it, A again to select everything, and then A again to deselect. That's what we want. We're going to go to face select. We're going to select right here. We're going to hold C for paint select, and we're going to select this whole bottom part. We're going to right click to get out of that. And I'm just going to hit C again to get, okay, we got that. And when we hit X to bring it to delete menu and then faces, lo and behold, there goes the eye waiting in there. We scaled it down and then we rotated it even though we couldn't see it. So it's waiting in there. Now we're just going to, I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to grab this part of the eye right here. I'm going to hit X to bring it to the delete menu. Select these faces to delete them. Select the face here. I'm going to hit Control L. Control L selects whatever connected vertices are selected to it. So we're going to hit X to delete these faces. We're going to hit 1 to go to our number keyboard. Back to our number keyboard. Back to front view, sorry. Now what we're going to do is select one face here. We're going to hit Control L just like we did before. We're going to hit 3 to go in the side view. I know I'm speaking fast, but I know it's already a long tutorial. Right now we are rotating on the medium point. We want to rotate on this 3D cursor. To do that, we're going to click right here. This is whenever you're in Blender, typically you're messing with this medium point right here. We want to go down to 3D cursor. All right, with it on 3D cursor, now this eyelid will rotate right on that 3D cursor. So we want to take it back like this. Okay, now I'm going to take the middle mouse button, spin to the front. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to select the edge right here. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Whoops. Right click if you did like I did. Whoops. What the heck is going on here? I'm going to hit A to deselect. Hold Alt. That's weird. I guess it is selecting it. All right, hit Control Z. It's not showing it selection right here, but I guess it is. So you want to select this edge right here. You're going to hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. So you create new geometry right here on the edge. You're going to hit S to scale. Whoops. Yeah, it still work. S to scale. And I thought it might mess up because we're on our pivot around the 3D cursor, but it's fine. But basically what we did there was we created thickness for the eye right there. I learned this technique of doing the eye from David Ward. I love his technique for doing eyes. Anyway, you're going to click right here. You're going to go back to medium point. You're going to go to face select. You're going to go to C select. You're going to select right here. My brain just froze up on me. Right here. Nope. Sorry. For a second I forgot. It's a C select. You're going to select right here. And what you're going to do is hold your middle mouse button, turn this side. You're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis, -1. And you'll kind of get that thing right there. You want to just pull back like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to select one vertex here. Trying to speak into the microphone so it's not too low. The volume, I'm going to hit Control Space. I'm going to pull back my manipulator just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit C for paint select. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select face select first. Hit C for paint select. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis. Take it back just slightly. I'm going to hit S to scale to shrink it down a little bit. And hit A to deselect. I'm going to go to edge select. I'm going to hit Control R for a loop cut. I'm going to put the loop cut. Let me zoom in so you can see. Fairly tight to the eye, and I just want it to be, I'm going to hit S to scale, bring it in a little bit tighter. I want these edges sharp. It's a long story, but to make edges sharp, once you have your subdivision surface on, you need either loop cuts or mean creases met with. And long story, just follow what I do, and your eye will look good. I'm going to hit Control R. I'm going to put another loop cut in. I'm going to put it all the way out to right there. I'm going to hit Control R. I'm going to put another loop cut in. I'm just pulling to make it bigger. I'm going to put it right up to the edge right there. I'm now going to go to this eyelid. I'm going to hit Control R. See how the loop cut right there is like that loop cut? You can see it's look at the shape of it. It's basically around the eyelid. I'm going to left click once to make it lock in one time. And because I only left click one time, I can pull it out. You want to take it right up to the edge. Left click to lock in. You're going to hit Control R again. Left click to lock in. And then again, pull this right up pretty much to the edge. Almost, not totally to the edge like that. Now that that's done, you're going to select the eyelid. You're going to hit Control L to grab the whole thing. Hit 3 to go into your number keypad. You're going to go back to your 3D cursor pivot point. So now things will rotate around the 3D cursor again. You're going to hit Shift D to duplicate this, right? So I hit Shift D, I didn't click anything, which allows me to move it. Then when I right click, it snaps right back. Excuse me, I'm going to hit R to rotate. And rotate it, like an eyelid should be. On the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control 2, which automatically puts a subdivision surface on this eye. I'm then going to click right here, and then I'm going to hit A to select everything. I'm going to hit, I had to hit A twice actually. When I had something selected, I hit A once, it deselect everything, hit A again, select everything. I hit W to bring up the specials menu. I'm going to get a shade smooth. All right, so now I can hit Tab. You can see the eye right there. Now what I'm going to do is hit right now, remember, we're in user ortho local mode. I'm going to go to my number keypad right next to the number lock. I'm going to hit backspace, and there you go. There's the eye right in there, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit 1 to go on our number keypad. We're going to hit Shift C to bring this cursor directly to the center, right? Now we're going to zoom in on this thing's face. Doesn't matter if it's all the way up there. That's fine. We're still on pivot around our 3D cursor. So with the eye selected, we're going to hit Shift D. Here's another copy of the eye. I'm going to right click to lock it back in. I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis -1. And what that does, it puts the eye right in the other side. So we have some eyes in there. Our eyes in now. Okay, I'm going to manipulate this face just a little bit more. What I'm going is I'm going to go to, I'm going to turn this back to medium point, go to edit mode of the mesh. So now we're back in the T-Rex mesh. I'm going to hit C to, I'm going to go to face select, sorry, I'm going to hit C to paint select all right here. I don't want the center, crap, I'm going to hit Control Z. I don't want the center point selected. This is fine. All this is good. I'm going to hit Control Space to temporarily take that away. So all the, see where it's selected? So the nostril, not so much the inside. The outside's all selected. I'm going to hit S to scale. Just because I wanted that nostril bigger. I'm going to hit S to scale in the Z axis to make it even bigger. I'm going to grab, with edge select, I'm grabbing these edges right here. Don't want those right there, just around here. I'm going to hit Control Space, push down some here. I'm going to hit S to scale in the X axis just to pull in slightly there. I'm going to go to loop select, face select, sorry. Select these faces right here. I'm going to turn O, hit O for proportional edit to turn that on. And to pull this, whoops, what the heck? Oh, I see. Can you Control Z? I'm going to hit G so I can see my area of influence because we shrunk this scale down there. I had to zoom it way down. So now we're just going to pull up some like that. And now we're going to hit 3 on the number keypad. I'm going to hit period key to zoom in. Easy way to zoom in quickly. I'm actually going to hit Z, A to deselect, B, grab this whole part here. I'm going to hit S to scale. Make that whole part there bigger. I think I'm going to hit A to deselect, B to box select. I'm going to hit excuse me, connected proportional edit. Just make this whole part a little bit bigger. I'm actually going to hit S to scale on the Z axis and make it thinner. Hit A to deselect, B, even a little bit more. That. Yeah, I like that. Grab this part, I'm going to hit Z. Grab this part right here and just even that out some. Okay, now with this eye, see our eye is floating there. I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to hit Alt, hit A, sorry, A to make sure nothing's selected. I'm going to hit Alt, and then what I'm going to do is hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to hit S to scale, just to bring in this, that part that's kind of like, you know, that kind of like black part you see on Dragon Eyes, like. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna go to face select and then grab these right here. Pull these out some. I'm gonna hit E to extrude. Even more, there we go. I like that. Pull this out some. Yeah, I like that a lot. What we're gonna do is go into sculpt mode. I'm gonna hit F to we'll grab it so he can see. Hit F to make. I'm gonna hit F, hold F and pull it to you know, pull this in so it's not his eye isn't blocking his, you know, vision. I really like that that ridge there. Put down just a little bit. Look more menacing. Okay, we'll come back into edit mode. Okay, now we're going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to temporarily turn off subdivision surface. I'm going to go to face select, make sure that's on. I'm going to select these 4 faces here. I'm going to hit Control Space to turn off the manipulator temporarily. I'm going to hit E to extrude, take it straight up. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Z axis, 0. Hit Control Space to bring the manipulator back. And hit S to scale on the X axis to stretch out those vertices a little bit. Push them in a little bit. Let me grab this one face right here. Control Space. Pull. There we go. I like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to go to edge select, grab this edge right here, pull this back some so that's a little bit flatter. Edge select here, grab these two faces here, and hit E to extrude on the Y axis. Hit S to scale on the Y axis, 0 degrees to make them flat. Push them in a little bit, I'll take them up a little bit. I'm going to hit S to scale. I'm going to hit E to extrude just a little bit. Left click to lock in. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis again. S to scale, make them a little bit bigger. Excuse me. E to extrude, little small section again. E to extrude on the Y axis again. Hit S to scale to make them smaller. Maybe, well, we can change the shape and sculpt. E to extrude again. E to extrude on the Y axis again. E to extrude yet again. E to extrude on the Y axis again. Hit S to scale. Shrink that down fairly small. Pull that straight out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to edge select and see how we have these little extrusions here. Watch this. When I bring this back, you see that, right? Now watch this. I'm going to hit Control R. I'm going to put a loop cut in between there. I'm going to hit S to scale and put a loop cut here. S to scale. A loop cut, just going to put loop cuts in between those in those small extrusions. I'm left clicking to lock in, S to scale, Control R for loop cut, left click to lock in, and then S to scale. So now when we come back, we turn this on. You see that right there? And you'll see even more. It still doesn't look quite right, but you'll see what we can do to get it to look right. I'm going to grab these faces right here. Just adjust this down some. Go into scope mode. That's whoops. It's because it's a smaller scale now. I'm going to hit period. Does that thing? Oh, there we go. Lost it for a second. Zoom in here. And we're just going to grab these and change the shape of them. Right. Angled in some. Maybe we'll even hit F. You can fairly easily change the width of them here. Make them have like a little taper to them. And sculpt is just lovely. You can come in here and just, play. Just adjusting the body, legs and arms while we're in here. And this is just, pushing and pulling vertices for this part. Go back into edit mode. Sometimes it's harder. It's harder to do things in scope because it's kind of putty like, so you want to put in loop cuts. Like I want this thing to have kind of like almost like it has biceps, right? So what I'm doing now is I'm putting in loop cuts into the arms. I'm actually going to go back into edit mode. And I'm putting in loop cuts because I want it to kind of have like almost like a bicep. I'm going to hold shift in these loop cuts. Alt, pull this loop cut up some. I'm actually going to hit select these faces here. Not that. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Left click to lock in. Hit S to scale. Not too much. I'm going to S to scale on the X axis. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis. I'm going to hit S to scale. And what I want is just a piece of geometry where I can play with in sculpt mode a little bit more. That's what I'm doing right here. Make a little dragon arm look a little muscly. So I'm selecting these 4 faces here. I'm going to hit E to extrude the X axis and just doing it like an elbow. Let's go back in. Let's go to sculpt mode and play a little bit. Sculpting is fun. It's just fun. It's funny because I know that you know, online ZBrush is a big thing. I think I have ZBrush. When I taught graphic design, I was able to download most of the programs. Like I have my I have 3ds Max here. You know, it was a benefit of being a teacher. You know, they're all, praise God, legal copies. However, yeah, I've heard people, oh, ZBrush, and I'm sure, don't get me wrong, I'm sure ZBrush is great. It's just the thing, the thing with Blender is just the ease of going between the modes, you know. It's just nice how you can, you know, go right to edit mode, jump right back and forth. It's very nice how you can do that. Not get too caught up here. Go back in edit mode. Just putting in loop cuts for more detail for sculpting to make it easier. Back in the sculpt mode. That's one of the things when we change the scale. It's giving me a little bit of difficulty in sculpt mode with zooming in and out. You don't have to do everything in sculpt. I mean, proportional edit can do a decent job at doing a similar, kind of like similar to sculpt mode. Sculpt mode is just very quick. Put another couple of loop cuts in here. Put some teeth in his mouth. So we're going to do to put teeth in the mouth. We've been in edit mode. We're going to go back into object mode. I'm just going to click for now. Go to object mode. I'm going to hold shift, zoom in. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. What I'm going to do is put the middle mouse button right here. Hide that camera so it's not in the way. So here's the middle mouse button. Wherever the middle mouse button is where our object will come in at. I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to bring in a cube. All right, when the cube comes in, I'm going to hit Tab to go into the object mode of the cube. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit W to bring up the specials menu. I'm going to hit subdivide 3 times. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Z axis. Yep. Control Z. Sorry, I don't want this proportional edit on. Hit circle or O to turn that off. Hit S to scale on the Z axis to shrink it down. Hit 7 to go on the top view. And hit S to scale on the Y axis to shrink it down like that. 1, and see how it's jumping around like that on us. Push this down. Actually, no. I'm gonna keep it up there. I'm gonna hit backspace to go into local mode. I'm gonna hit A to. Actually, I'm gonna hit Z. I'm gonna hit B. You want to be on face select. You're gonna hit B to box select. You're gonna select all these faces here. You're gonna hit X to delete there. You're going to go to mirror, turn on clipping, turn on this right here. You're going to hit 7. All right, now you're going to hit B for box select. You're going to grab right here. You're going to push up just slightly, hit R to rotate, push up just slightly again. You're going to go to your side, hit Z, hit A to deselect, C for box select. You're going to select all of these right here. You're going to hit 7 to go back in the top view. I'm holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. You're going to hit E to extrude, no axis, just let it extrude where it is. Take the manipulator and turn slightly. Hit R to rotate. We're making gums right now. Yet another David Ward technique. Hit E to extrude on the Y axis. So you want 6 on 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis 0 degrees. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's pull them back fairly far. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis. Take it back like that. I'm going to hit, I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit C to paint select this whole top part right here. I'm going to right click to get out of that paint select. I'm going to hit X to bring it to delete menu. Select faces to delete. Still with face select on. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to select right here, right on the edge. It's going to select this whole top edge right here. I'm going to hit Alt S, which is a special type of scale. All right, it's Alt S. Alt S. All right. My screen keys turned off. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit Alt on the bottom here. I'm going to hit I hit Alt and right on the edge to select it. Now I'm going to hit Alt S to make this bigger. And this is basically the gums here. Now I'm going to hit A to deselect. All right, now what I'm going to do is remember wherever the mouse, wherever the 3D cursor is at, is where our objects would come in. I'm going to right click right here. I'm going to hit Shift A to bring in a cube. I'm going to hit W to bring in specials menu. I'm going to go to subdivide. And then I am going to just grab right here, pull down just like that. And I'm going to go select these top faces. I'm going to hit X to delete these faces. I'm going to grab one face, hit Control L to select the whole thing. I'm going to hit W and go to smooth. I'm now going to hit S to scale on the Z axis, and we're forming a dragon tooth there. Just going to push this over into place, hit S to scale. And we're just going to maneuver these into place. Zoom in so you can see. I'm holding the middle mouse button. Rotating. That's the scale. So we first made the gums. Now we're making the teeth. I'm going to separate these. I'm going to rescale. There we go. And because it's mirrored is why you see it, you know, the other tooth there. So I'm going to hit R to rotate on the Z axis to rotate it slightly. Actually, I'm going to do I want them straight up and down. I'm going to select this edge. I'm going to select the edge right here. Just push forward just slightly. I just want a slight bend in that tooth. Then I'm going to hit Control L to select the whole tooth. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate a tooth. Pull it back. I guess the teeth are too big. So I'm actually going to select them. Sorry, people are going to be annoyed at this, but I'm actually going to hit Control L and delete that tooth, because there is one thing I want to do just for unwrapping purposes later on. If you're anybody's planning to texture their tooth, what you want to do is you actually want to and this says we're not going to get into texturing in this thing, but you do want to do this just to make it easier on yourself. If you're planning a texture later on, you're going to make sure you're in edge select. You're going to select right here for that loop. You're going to hit Control E to mark seam, and then you can actually select here. I'm sorry for you people who have no interest in texturing. I'm going to hit Control E, mark seam, just so when you duplicate this tooth, you only have to mark the seam for one tooth, and then this seam will be there, so you're ready to texture all the rest of them. Anyway, I'm going to hit Control L again. It's not too much extra work. Whoops, Control Z. I'm sorry. Hit S to scale. You want to bring this down a little bit. They were a little bit too big. We want to hit S to scale on the Z axis to make them long, but we want to make sure we have enough of them. We're going to grab that hit Control Space. I'm going to stay with the loop select on, or edge select. I'm going to grab this edge and push it down some. I think I'm going to hit Control, put another loop cut in there and push this out some. This one might be pushing my longest tutorial. These tutorials, they take a while. It's interesting. I have kids. My kids come in, they'll make noise. People will come to the door. It's interesting sometimes. That's the scale on the x-axis. Okay, so we're gonna hit Shift D to duplicate the tooth, pull it to the side, and we can just hit S to scale to change the size of it, and R to rotate on the Z axis just to change the angle just slightly. Shift D, and you're just taking these teeth, positioning it. Whoops. You mess up, you hit R. It's kind of like almost like a little miniature Control Z in a sense. Just make sure that the teeth are in the gum. I'm gonna hit whoops. Didn't want to do that. Hit Control Z. Hit extrude by accident. Definitely didn't want to do that. R to rotate on the Z axis. Yeah, those teeth look pretty menacing to me. Hit Shift D. Pull straight back, and let me remember how long this thing is going on. So I'm going to hit Shift D and try to... Sometimes you're designing, you're modeling, and your brain, the artistic side takes over, and it's like, oh, this is cool, I can do this. And sometimes even I'm doing a tutorial, I forget I'm doing a tutorial. I'm like, oh, maybe let me try that. I'm like, wait a second, you're taking a long time, buddy. People have taken their precious time to watch you. It's like, okay. Okay, so I'm going to hit A to select all that. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate it. See, here's a duplication. I'm going to right click. Then I'm going to hit S to scale on the Z axis, -1. Or somebody said Z. They were like, it's Z. I say Z. I think I'm going to keep saying Z for a while. Though I do appreciate you telling me it's apparently Z. It's like, I've learned some awesome stuff from things people have taught me on here. Z sounds better than Z though. I don't know. Anyway, hit tab. So there's our teeth right there. We're gonna hit Control 2. You see how we have our teeth all smooth like that? I don't particularly like them like that. And we're gonna hit a tab to go back. We're gonna hit A to select everything. We're gonna hit W to go to shade smooth. Okay, so now when you look here, you can see everything is smooth, right? One of the things you can do, and this is a pretty cool thing, is like subdivision surface makes things look smooth. It generally makes things look better. The problem is when you come up to things where they need to be hard. An easy way to deal with this is that you can just hit box select in transparent mode, grab the teeth, hit Control L to select all of the teeth. Then what we're going to do is hit Z for transparent so we can see. We're going to hit Shift E, right? And then we're going to pull. See that red line? What that is we're increasing the mean crease of the teeth. And what that means is now we have the smoothness on the gums, but yet we have some hardness on the teeth, which I like a lot better. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to hit right next to that number lock button, we're going to hit backspace. We're going to move these teeth in object mode. We're going to move them, into position. So we'll just shrink them down. We're doing this in object mode because we have a mirror modifier still on the teeth. So normally you're better off moving things in edit mode, but we're moving things in object mode because for this situation we want to be able to move everything all at once. So we have the teeth there. We'll hit S to scale on the Y axis, stretch them out. See, we want this thing to be able to snarl. So I'm just playing with the scale. And I'm imagining how I want the mouth to be. And I'm mainly looking at the top gums. So they can have a nice snarl. And it's going to hit S to scale on the Z axis. We want the teeth to fit into the mouth. And what we're actually going to do is pull this to the side. We're going to select the drag and we're going to hit S, Shift S, cursor to selected. We'll hit 1 on the number keypad, so that's directly in the center. Then we'll select the teeth. We have the cursor right there. Now we're going to hit Shift S and we're going to hit selection to cursor offset. And then we're going to push the teeth straight down. That just means the teeth are going to be exactly in the center. Even though it moved us out, it'll still be directly in the center as far as the mirror. We just place it back where it needs to be. Sorry, that's the scale on the Z on the X-axis. It's almost right. Just thinking of this thing's snarl. It is indeed a cool thing to have a dragon snarl. What we're going to do is we're going to select the dragon. We're going to hit 3 on the keyboard to go in the side view. We're going to hit Z. Tab. Yep, we're on the dragon. Good. Wasn't sure for a second. Now we're going to hold Control Space. We're going to grab this whole bottom jaw here. And even though you can see the teeth there, they're separate objects, so they're fine. We won't select them. We're going to hit C to deselect the stuff we don't want, which are these vertices right here. I think. Yep, we don't want that. Now we're going to hit 3, make sure we're back in that side view, ortho again, and we're just going to push down to give us more room for those teeth to play with. We'll hit Z. Yeah, now we can see better to deal with these teeth. Good. And while we're in here, we're actually going to hit tab to go into object mode. To make things a little bit easier for us, we see the cube here. The cube is the dragon mesh, so we'll double click on the name. We'll put in dragon mesh. We have this cube here, That's the teeth. So we'll double click, name these teeth. The sphere here is the, we'll name this I dot L. Select this other I dot R. Okay, so now we're gonna, now that we have these names, we'll just select the teeth, make them, whoops, meant the teeth. We'll select the teeth, temporarily make them disappear. We'll select on the drag and mesh. We'll hit tab to go into edit mode. And what we're gonna do is grab right here, and we're gonna hit E to extrude on the Y-axis. We're forming a tongue here. E to extrude on the Y-axis again. E to extrude on the Y-axis again. And S to scale on the X-axis. S to scale on the X-axis again. We'll actually grab these faces here, push in, make the tongue a little bit thinner. I think I'm gonna go to edge select, hold Alt, pull up on the tongue a little bit there, hit Alt with edge select, grab that loop, push it up there. Now we'll bring back the teeth. Make sure the tongue, yep, the tongue goes in between the teeth, though the tongue can be flatter. So what we'll do is we'll hit 3, we'll hit Z to go transparent. We'll make sure we're on face select. We'll hit C. Whoops. Okay, forget that. We're gonna hold Control. We're gonna draw lasso around the tongue. And what we'll do is we'll hit Z, and then we'll hit S to scale on the Z axis, and we'll flatten that tongue out some. Now we'll unhide the teeth by hitting the I there, and good. And while we're in here, while we have that hard surface model on the teeth, what we're going to do is we're going to look at these horns here. We're going to hit Z. I just turn, holding the middle mouse button. We're going to hit Control and then the right space button. We're going to grab all this piece of the horns right there. We're going to hit Z to go so you can see. Now we're going to go to, with that selected, we're going to hold Shift. We're going to select these faces all right here. Trying to remember to lean forward a little bit, getting this microphone. I don't want the volume to be too low. I know the last tutorial there was an issue with that. I was glad that somebody told me, otherwise I wouldn't even realize it. So yeah, this whole part right here, we want it to be hard here. So what we're going to do is just like we did before, we're going to hit Shift E, which gives us a control of something called mean crease, and then we're just going to pull. And you see that red line? That makes these basically hard. So when we hit tab, you can, let me hit turn off this wire so you can see it. See how hard those horns look now compared to how they were? And you can see how the teeth look, right? Now see that the claws, how soft and look. They almost look like it's like a kid's dragon thing or whatever. We're gonna hit tab, we're gonna fix that now. So we're gonna go select these claws. And we're just on face select, and we're just, trying to make sure we get, I'm going to hit Control Space to temporarily take away the manipulator. We're just going to grab all of the claws. And because we're mirror, we only have to do, thank God, half of the work. So we select all the claws on the front. And we could have actually did this when we, before we duplicated the legs for the claws. I'm grabbing too much. We just want to make sure we have all of the faces selected for the claws. But not the part that we want fleshy. So the part that we want soft, we want soft. The part that we want hard, we want hard. So now with them selected, one more time I'll hit tab so you can see how soft they look, right? So now we hit Shift E, we just pull. Now we go back, and now you can see no longer does it look like it's, you know, a dragon with soft plushy claws. Okay, so we're through most of this. Let's go back in that edit mode for the dragon, zoom into the face. We're going to go to sculpt mode and fix some things up here. And this eye, I want to make sure that he can see. See that we have the horn there. We can pull that out just so that the mouth isn't coming out. And messed with the tongue a little bit because the teeth are a separate object, so you know, just slightly mess with that. Okay, now we're going to go back into edit mode, and what we're going to do is go to this dragon's face. We're going to go to vertice select. We're going to select these vertices right here. We're going to make sure we turn on our connected proportional edit. We're going to hit G and then Z. Pull that up. Those vertices straight up. Hold Shift, hit G and Z. Pull this up. Hit G and then X. And we're just putting a nice snarl on his face. We'll grab these vertices right here next to the eye. Hit G and Z, pull these up slightly. We're just pushing and pulling vertices here. There we go. Now he's looking, starting to look pretty cool. Yep, just pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling vertices here. Bring his mouth up some here too. We'll give him some, his nostrils be flexing some, so we'll hit G, and then I'm just selecting the vertices and just pushing and pulling. I'm thinking my brain is sometimes forgetting to say the short keys. Hopefully you guys have most of them now. Yeah, he's starting to look pretty cool. Let's do a few more adjustments to his body. So we're going to grab these vertices right here. We have our proportional edit on. We can hit G and see the area of influence. We'll put that up a little bit. Just pushing and pulling vertices here. By me pushing forward and down and making his chest more, a little bit more barrel chested. Grabbing the vertices here. I'm going to hit C for paint select actually. My manipulator is getting in my way, but put it up slightly. We can hit this line right here. We can hit Alt to grab that loop cut and push that down a little bit. Grab these vertices and we can actually hit Z and hit 3. I'm going to hit A to deselect. Control and right mouse button for loop select. Actually draw this back some. I'm going to put another loop cut here. Hit R to rotate on the x-axis. Scale it up some. Need to turn off proportional edit. I'm going to hit Control O to turn that off. A to deselect. I'm going to select these right here. Push them down some. This here, push this down. Whoops. Control Z, I did not want that. Hit Z to look at it. I want this arm to be bigger, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit A to deselect, I'm going to hit Control and the right mouse button to grab everything but the claws, and what I'm going to do is hit Alt S, and that'll give me, it's almost like making an arm, like he's been lifting weights. You see that, how much thicker that is right there? Yeah, again, I'm just pushing and pulling vertices, and I will stop because you can just keep going on and on playing with this stuff. I mean, it's fun to play with. I know you guys are watching the tutorial completionists are like, come on, Ollie, get to it, finish the wing so it can be done. So I'm like, okay, let me get control of myself. I kind of like it. It looks like a bulldog dragon, which I kind of, it's kind of cool. Yeah, a few more things. We're going to hit Tab, go into Edit Mode. Let's go to his tail. Control R. Put a loop cut here. We're going to go to Edge Select. We're going to hold Alt, select this loop right here. Oops. Control Z. With that loop cut. Guess I made it erratic. I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to try to grab this erratic looking loop cut. And then what I'm going to do is hit S to scale on the Y axis 0. Didn't do anything. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hold Alt for this loop cut right here, drag this forward a little bit, pull this up some. I'm going to then I am going to hit S to scale, actually pull this out on the X axis, and hit Control R to put another loop cut in and push this up here. And hit S to scale on the X axis. Pull that in a little bit more. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Z axis. Grab the tip of this and put down some. Okay, let's go up to, where's the face? We have this body. What dragon wouldn't have armor to protect it from arrows from underneath? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to face select. We're going to select all of these faces here from the neck here. Select all of these faces here. I'm just holding Shift and just selecting. Okay, and with all those faces selected, what we're going to do is go to our wrench, our modifier tool, and we are going to hit the I to temporarily turn off the modifier. We're going to hit Shift D. We're going to pull straight down. We just made a duplicate with that Shift D. So we'll pull straight down. Pull it down a little bit further, and what we're going to do is we're going to make some loop cuts. So we're going to hit Control R, put a loop cut right here, Control R, and we're placing these loop cuts right next to each other for the most part. Should we hit hit Control Z, put this loop cut up here. There we go, just so it's in the shape of the other loop cut. Hit Control R. fairly close to each other, a little bit of space in between for these loop cuts. Another loop cut right here. Just holding the middle mouse button to turn to rotate the view. Control R for loop cut there. Control R for loop cut here. Control R. And we're just putting loop cuts right next to another edge. Try to get like an armor looking effect. And you can, always your own model. You can always modify it even more. All right, so now that we have those loop cuts, now what we're going to do is we're going to go back, hit Control R, put a loop cut right in between that space, the other loop cuts. Hit Control Z. With that loop cut selected, you're going to hit S to scale. So here's another space. We're going to put it right there. Control R. There's the loop cut. And I just left clicked twice to lock in. We're going to hit S to scale. Control R. We're just putting it right in the center twice to lock it in. And then S to scale down. Here's another loop cut. Control R. S to scale. I'm not going to put one there. I'm going to put one right here. Control R. Left click click twice to lock in. Scale down. Holding Shift and the middle mouse button just to pan. Control R. S to scale in. Control R. S to scale down. Control R. S to scale down. Control R is just the loop cuts. Control R right in between, just like we've been doing it. S to scale down. Control R. S to scale down. And then lastly, Control R. S to scale down. Okay, now with all that done, what we do is with a line, the edge still selected, we can hit Control L. And then we can take our manipulator and push this back basically into place. We'll hit Alt S to make it slightly bigger. We'll turn our eye back on so we can see what's going on. Then we'll hit Shift E to increase our main crease. And then we can see our armored plating. Right there. Somebody wants to shoot an arrow. I have to get through that. Other fairly quick adjustments. We're almost done. Okay, we're going to hit Tab to go into object mode. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to right click here to put the cursor right there. I'm going to hit Shift A, go to Mesh, then Cube, bring in the cube, and hit Tab to go into the edit mode of the cube. I'm going to hit S to subdivide it one time. I'm going to select this vertex right here. Okay, you're going to take your manipulator, you're just going to push straight down. You can see this is just like the teeth that we did. We'll select these faces right here. Because we don't need them, we'll go to Face Select, hold Shift and select these faces right here. We'll hit X to bring it to the delete menu and delete the faces on them. We'll select one face here, hit Control L, and then we will hit W to bring up our specials menu, and we'll go to Smooth, and then we'll hit S to scale on the Z axis. I think we'll hit Alt, and we just, because we're on face select and we selected right here, I'll show you this. Because we're on face select and we selected right here, grabs the Alt. When you hold Alt, it scales a loop. So we're gonna take this up like this. Then we're going to do is hit Control R to put a loop cut in right there. Kind of like we just did. We're going to hit Control R yet again. Put a loop cut in here. Then we're going to kind of drag this in. We're going to hit S to scale to grab this loop cut. We're going to hit S, Alt to grab that loop cut. Sorry, we're going to hit S to scale this one up. And just take this one up just like this. Okay, now we're going to hit Control 2 to put a subdivision surface on it. We're then going to hit Control 2. We're going to put here so we can see what's going on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit C to paint select these faces right here. And then we're going to hit Shift E or mean crease. Now we're going to hit face select, Alt S. Let's hold Shift and do Alt S for here also. Hold Shift to grab there. We're going to hit S to scale. Let's pull this up some. There we go. Now let's hit A to select the whole thing, S to scale on the Z axis. And now hit W to bring up your specials menu, go to Shade Smooth. I need one more loop cut, so let's go back in. We're going to go on our edge select this edge right here, hit S to scale. Let's see these edges here coming out some. A weird way, so let's try to fix them. There we go. We'll move it, hit Control Space, just trying to get that edge. It looks weird. Pull it in. There we go. I'm just grabbing these edges. I'm taking the manipulator and just pushing them in so they're not over the edge with the manipulator. And hit Alt to grab the edge right there. I'm just going to pull up slightly. Then I'm going to hit S to scale out just a little bit. Hit S to scale to pull it in a little bit. I'm going to put another loop cut in. I'm going to hit Control L. And I'm going to push that loop cut down some. S to scale to bring it in some. Just trying to not have these things here look weird. Fighting against me a little bit. I'm pushing and pulling the vertices to, just have it not look strange. Those edges popping out. Programs are like kids. It's like it knows you guys are looking at me, so it's going to try to act up, right? That doesn't seem to work well. Just pushing up here. We want this to be like it's going to be like a horn thing coming out like a dragon's. We want it to look like it's coming out of the flesh, kind of. That's good enough. So, okay. So what we're going to do now is we're all discombobulated. So this is a separate object, even though it's a claw. So our horn. We're going to hit A. Pull this over to the dragon. Okay, so now we're just going to hit R to rotate on the x-axis. Just move this into place. Zoom in, hit S to scale. So we're in we're in the claw edit mode, but we're aligning it to the drag and mesh. We're just maneuvering our viewpoint to move this into place. We're going to auto rotate on the x-axis, auto rotate on the z-axis. There we go. Auto rotate on the x-axis. We're just going to hit Shift D. That's the scale it down some. It's a cool thing with little horns and things like this. Once you you make it, you can kind of, once you make it, you can just duplicate it, move it around. I'm gonna hit Shift D. Auto rotate on the Z-axis. Now I'm gonna select here, a dot on there, a vertice right there, vertice right here, vertice right here. I'm gonna hit Control L. I'm gonna select all of them. I'm gonna hit Shift D to select all of them. Move them over here, hit S to scale. Auto rotate on the Z-axis. Auto rotate on the Y-axis. Just want it to look like it's coming out of the flesh kind of there. I'm going to grab this one right here, hit Control L. Actually, hit Control Z. Okay, now that we have those in there, in place, what we're going to do is we're going to go to tab to object mode. We're going to hit this eye. So those are the horns right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to, with the horn selected as the cube, we're going to hold shift, select the drag and mesh, make sure our cursor is over the active viewpoint port. We're going to hit Control J. Oh, wait a second. You're going to select the cube where you can make sure where it is, the cube. I deselected it, so you hit the eye, it can let you know there's the cube. You're going to hold shift. I'm holding Control Tab. That's what I'm doing. You're going to hold shift, hold the drag and mesh. Whoops. There you go. Now I have both of them. I was holding hidden caps lock, which is right above the shift. So I selected this first. It's very important. Select the horns first, then the drag and mesh. Then with your cursor over this viewpoint, hit Control J. And now the horns are a part of the drag and mesh. Okay, I'm going to quickly show you guys a pretty, excuse me, easy way to make the wings. It's quick. There's many different ways to do it. There's always different ways of doing things. This is a pretty decent way if you're doing a very tutorial that turned out long like this one. And basically what you do is you select the edges here. Whoops, I'm trying to select that center edge right there. Keep selecting, so right down there all the way around here. What you come to find out pretty quick is the loop tools allow you to do things much faster, and they are awesome for that. So I'm going to go to loop tools. I'm going to go to G stretch, click here, and automatically it gives me a fairly decent wing shape. Not the best, but pretty decent. So now with that edge still on there, edge select still on, you select an edge right here. Same type of thing. Hit W, loop tools, G stretch, and then you just pull out your wing. And then you of course can come and refine it. That's where I think I get in trouble with the tutorials sometimes because you know, it's hard sometimes not to keep pushing. You know, even as you're doing the tutorial. It's you get to the fun part, which is sculpting, and yeah, you can get caught up, which is, you know, it's cool. Okay, and I just want to do one last thing. I'm gonna go to tab mode, hit 3, go to orthographic. I just want to readjust this thing's jaw because it looks kind of strange how it is. I'm gonna hit Z to go into transparent mode. I'm gonna hold Control and the right mouse button. I'm gonna grab its tongue and all of this bottom jaw. The teeth are still separate, so they're fine. I'm gonna right click right here, put the 3D cursor right there. I'm gonna change this to pivot on the 3D cursor. I'm gonna hit R to rotate on the X-axis, and then probably doesn't even need axis. And I'm just gonna rotate down, and then just push this up a little bit. Hit R to rotate on the X-axis again. Yeah, it looks better. The mouth just looked kind of weird how it was, and I think I'm actually going to hit S to scale on the X-axis. Push this in a little bit, make it more in on the teeth. Okay, let me just go to face select, grab right here. I can see the teeth popping through a little bit. You just grab here, turn this back to medium point. That can mess you up if you leave that on the 3D cursor. I'll push that out. That is it for the tutorial, guys. For all you guys who like these videos and reshare them, thank you. I appreciate it greatly. Bob Love, thank you for always, you know, coming in and giving me support. I greatly appreciate that, as you know, Bob. For all those who are new to this channel, if you like these videos and you would like to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.